Did you know that the success rate for traditional rehabilitation following a shoulder dislocation is only 20%? 20%! That means that the vast majority of people who dislocate their shoulders will go on to suffer from things like recurrent dislocations and shoulder instability for the rest of their lives. And I can tell you that as a clinician, that statistic is very hard to stomach. And so in this video, I want to share a novel approach for resolving this challenging problem. The rehab protocol that you're about to see comes from a case study that was published in the journal Physiotherapy Theory and Practice. The patient in this study was an 18-year-old male who had suffered a shoulder dislocation in a traumatic injury when a large, powerful wave had crashed down on top of him. A few important details about this case are, the patient was able to immediately get his shoulder back into socket on his own after the injury occurred. He then sought out medical attention where he was examined and x-rayed, and since there were no signs of complications and no evidence of fracture, he was immediately placed into a sling to immobilize the joint. 3 weeks later, he started physical therapy. When the patient reported for physical therapy, he underwent an initial examination where he was found to have pain, limited range of motion, as much as 35% less than the unaffected side in some ranges, and significant disability, meaning his shoulder was interfering with his ability to do his daily activities. And with just 11 sessions of rehabilitation, they were able to completely eliminate his pain, to restore all ranges of motion to normal limits with the exception of external rotation, which was only 10% restricted, and improve his instability index scores by 90%. The really interesting thing about the rehab program that they used in this case was that the entire thing was built around just one tool, the body blade. There were two specific exercises that made up the foundation of this rehab routine. Both were designed to challenge the scapulothoracic musculature by rapidly oscillating between scapular protraction and scapular retraction in order to drive up stability at that joint. To set up for the first of those exercises, you'll take a hip-width stance. Then from there, you're going to position the foot on the affected side of the body, meaning the side of the body where the dislocation had occurred, slightly out in front of the opposite foot, like half a foot length. So in this example, it was my right shoulder that was dislocated. Then from there, you're going to grasp the body blade with a two-handed grip. My preferred way of doing that is to interlace my fingers and be dead center on the handle like this, and then cross my thumbs across the back. The researchers in this study, though, demonstrate an over-under grip like this. Try them both, see which one works best for you. Once you're set with your grip, you're going to rotate your torso so that the body blade is positioned 90 degrees out to the side of your body, again towards the affected side. Remember, right shoulder was dislocated, I'm out to the right. And then you're going to begin oscillating the blade side to side in this position. Once you feel comfortable with the rhythm and the movement, you'll slowly begin rotating your torso across the midline of the body, finishing 90 degrees out to the opposite side. Then from there, you're going to rotate back to where you started. And with just one side-to-side rotation like that, I can already feel all the muscles around my right shoulder blade begin to light up. In contrast to exercise number one, the second exercise involves a front-to-back motion with the body blade. To set up for this one, you'll take a hip-width stance. Your feet are going to be in alignment here, and then you're going to put a very slight bend in your knees like that. From there, you're going to grasp the body blade with a two-handed overhand grip, so knuckles are pointed straight out in front of you, as is the flat portion of the body blade. Once you're set there, you're going to lift the body blade to shoulder height, and then you need to protract your shoulder blade. So you're going to push your shoulders out in front of you like this. When you do that properly, you're going to feel a stretch right around the inside edge of both shoulder blades. So push them out in front of you, and then from there, it's a front to back motion, just like this, maintaining that protracted position at the shoulder blade the entire time. And again, just like exercise number 1, you can really feel all of the muscles around the shoulder blades begin to activate. Once the patient was proficient with those first 2 exercises and he showed signs of improved scapular control, meaning he could do those movements in a smooth, controlled manner with no pain whatsoever, then a series of accessory exercises were added in. And whereas those first 2 exercises were designed to increase stability at the scapulothoracic joint, where the shoulder blade sits on top of the rib cage, the purpose of the accessory exercises was to increase stability at the glenohumeral joint. The first of these accessory exercises alternates between shoulder internal rotation and external rotation. The goal here is to ramp up activation of the rotator cuff. To perform this exercise, you'll start off with a shoulder width stance. Both feet should be pointed straight ahead and they should be in alignment with one another. You also want a very slight bend in your knees. From there, you're going to grasp the body blade with a single-handed overhand grip, dead center in the middle of the handle, and then you're going to bring the blade into this orientation where the edge is pointed straight out in front of you. Once you're set there, you're going to bend the elbow to 90 degrees and tuck it right into the side of your body, and then you're going to begin oscillating the blade side to side just like this. Once you're comfortable with the rhythm and you have control over the blade, you can slowly begin moving the shoulder into internal rotation, bringing the hand across the body, slow and controlled. Pain is your guide. You're only going to move as far into internal rotation as you can go, completely pain-free. And make sure that you don't smack yourself with the blade. From there, you're going to move out into external rotation. Again, pain is your guide. Maintaining control and the rhythm of the blade the entire time, back and forth, only moving as far as you can under total control and remaining pain-free throughout. The second of these accessory exercises oscillates between shoulder abduction and adduction. To perform this one, you'll start off with that same shoulder width stance, very slight bend in the knees. You're going to grasp the body blade dead center with a one-handed overhand grip, and you're going to start off with the blade right on the side of your body like this, and then you're going to be going towards your body and away from your body, just like so. Once you're comfortable with the rhythm and you have control over the blade, you can begin moving through a very small range of motion, bringing the blade away from the side of your body and slowly back down. And repeat, away from the body and slowly back down. Then once you're really comfortable, you can begin building on that range of motion. The third of these accessory exercises alternates between shoulder flexion and extension. To perform this one, you'll start off with that same stance, both feet pointed straight ahead, shoulder width apart, slight bend in the knees. You're going to grasp the blade with the overhanded single hand grip on the affected side, dead center in the middle of the handle. From there, the blade should be positioned close to the body. Edge of the blade is pointed straight down to the floor. And then from here, you're going back and forth in kind of a front to back motion with the blade, just like that. And then once you've got control over the blade and you're comfortable with the rhythm, you can slowly begin bringing the shoulder into flexion, raising the arm up out in front of you. Again, pain is your guide. You should only go as far as you can go with a completely pain-free range of motion, maintaining proper rhythm and control the entire time. Ultimately, the goal is to work your way up to the point where you can move all the way through the flexion range of motion into 180 degrees straight up overhead and maintain control and be pain-free throughout that range of motion. The fourth of the accessory exercises alternates between elbow flexion and extension. The goal here is to ramp up activation of the biceps brachii, specifically the long head, which crosses over the glenohumeral joint. Setup for this movement is the same. Feet are shoulder width apart, pointed straight ahead, slight bend in the knees, but the grip is a one-handed underhand grip, so palm is pointed up towards the ceiling, and the blade should be oriented so that when the elbow's bent to 90 degrees, the flat portion of the blade is pointed straight up at the ceiling. The other thing that I find helpful with this movement is to take a slightly looser grip on the handle. Then from there, you're going to begin oscillating the blade up and down just like that. Once you're comfortable with the rhythm and you have control over the blade, you're going to slowly begin arcing the elbow through its normal range of motion, working the arm towards a straight elbow, and then slowly bending the elbow, bringing the blade closer to your face. Again, the range of motion that you move through is going to be dictated by the range that you're pain-free in and your ability to control the blade and maintain rhythm throughout. All in all, this was a very well-designed rehab routine that produced a fantastic result for a challenging condition in a short period of time. For anyone who wants more details about the rehab routine, sets and repetitions, and the exercise progressions that were used, I'll post a full text link for the case study in the description down below this video. And for anyone who wants to know more about the body blade, I've got another video that talks all about it, and you can see that by clicking the link in the upper right-hand corner of your screen now. Beyond that, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe button before you head out of here, and I'll see you next time.